Thank you all who participate in worship. Thank you, worship group. God bless you. So we're supposed to have a surprise after our youth service. Somebody gonna surprise us with good food. So we're gonna let the bucket go, and those money you guys prepare for Applebee's, you can donate today, because we're gonna have food here. Someone's gonna surprise us with good food. Surprise us with good food. Yes. So God bless you with that. Can I ask you a favor, guys? Can you not use your phones, please? Thank you. Because I kind of feel embarrassed to pass the bucket to collect the phones, because I know we're adults here and we understand that we're here. And we don't want to use phones, and we just want to focus. Yeah, so that's a confirmation for us that we should not use phones. Instead, we can use our Bibles. If you guys have Bibles, let's not go there. Nazar, just put it in the sound room, and then later on I'll. Can I have your attention, please? Boys, thank you. We heard so many times this phrase or this verse from Bible, trust in God. Or how can you, when somebody say to you, trust me or trust God, is it easy or it's hard to trust someone these days? I don't think it's easy to trust someone these days. But when we hear this verse from Bible, just trust God, trust God, trust God. You know, in your when you're going through something hard and people say trust God, and it sounds so easy, but in reality it's, you know, sometimes not so easy. You guys know what's gonna happen next Sunday? What's happening next Sunday? Huh? We're going to bless baby Sarah. So next Sunday is February 14, right? I mean, yeah, this Sunday. Yeah, sorry. So this Sunday is February 14, right? Do we have some kind of holiday? Patrick's Day. So this Sunday is a Valentine's Day, right? The romantic day. Yeah. I hope you guys don't have to worry about that yet, because maybe some of you are in a relationship, some of you not. But as you're growing up and you're 16, 17, whether you want it or not, time will come that the people you will meet in your lives, boys will see a special girl, and he would trying to convince himself this is the right one, or a girl will meet a guy and he would look good and fancy guy, and she would try to convince her heart that maybe this is the one. But it's so important for all of us, just trust God, because as you're going to grow up and you will see those people will come in your life, and your heart will tell you that's not the one. Your heart will just say, you know, will give you this beep, you know, that's not the one, that's not the one. But your emotions will try to just convince you, and just your thoughts will flood your mind, and man, look at this guy, or this girl. But in that time, it's so important to just hear what's your heart telling you. What's God telling to your heart? And usually, You know, it's hard to listen to your heart. It's hard to obey what God is telling you. When the logic is telling you he's the one or she's the one. And if it's in age of 17 or 16, then it's for sure he's not the one or she's not the one, because it's way too early. So trust God in that, you know. Don't just go for just because of your emotions. Just trust God that one day and the right time, God will bring you the right girl and the right guy. So that's a little bit for our Valentine's Day. Do you have a Bibles with you? No, you should have with you if you have Bibles. You guys all know who's David, King David, right? We heard so much sermons about him. Huh? He killed the Goliath. Right. And I want to read for, can someone close that door? Back door, thank you. Psalm 33, verse 12 and 19 through 19. Psalm 33, verse 12 through 19. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people who choose for his inheritance. From heaven the Lord looks down and sees all mankind. From his dwelling place he watches all who live on earth. He who formed the hearts of all, who considers everything they do. When you read and you just trying to think about it, the Bible said that the Lord looks down to see all mankind. Sometimes when I'm thinking about these words, I was like, I'm sitting and I'm reading these words, and I'm like, wow, God is looking down right now on me, on my heart. And right now he sees us. He sees our heart. He sees our thoughts. And just he sees what we're doing here in this place. And I think he's happy that we're here on this Wednesday night. We gather here. And we gather here not because we just, because of Michael we came here, or Taras. But we came here because of God, because of his name. And I think he's happy that we're here. We gather here in his name because we wanna learn something from him. We praise him, we worship him, and we pray to him, and we want to hear something from him. And before church we were praying, and all the boys were taking turns and praying, and they were saying, God, speak to us. God, we want to change. Our hearts wants to be changed, transformed. We want to be more like you. And this is amazing. So I'm just continue to read. No king is saved by the size of his army. No warrior escapes by his great strength. A horse is vain hope for deliverance. Despite all its great strength, it cannot save. But the eyes of the Lord are on those who fear him, on those who hope is in his unfailing love, to deliver them from death and keep them alive in famine. I believe this psalm David wrote, and we know his life, and he trying to explain to us, and he's just saying that king cannot be saved by the size of his army. If a president, let's say, in this our modern days, a president has big army, and if he just put hope on his army, it's not going to save him. That's what David said, if a king trying to put his trust, he believe on his army victory, only on his army victories. No matter what kind of big army he can have, it cannot save him. And he's not saying these words just from random or just something comes to his, he was just thinking, and he said this word. He wrote these words in Psalm. No, because we know the story. David was a young guy. I don't know how old is he, but I think he was maybe 16, 17 when he was a shepherd, when he watched over his flocks, and the lion came. And if he would not have a relationship with God, if he would not feel that the God's hand upon him, the God's spirit upon him, he would not run to the lion. I think we all been in a zoo. We saw lions, and nobody wants to get even close to that guy, to the lion, because we know it's dangerous. But this guy, he felt that he can tore apart this lion because he had this confidence in his heart. He trusted in God. And when he came to visit his brothers, when his father sent him to this battlefield, and he came and he saw what's going on, what's happening there. He saw everybody was just in shock. They just feared their enemies because they saw this big giant. They saw this Goliath that was fully, protected. He has all this. He was fully equipped. But David, he felt like in his heart, he can defeat this guy. He can defeat Goliath. But he was not trusting, he was not putting trust on himself or on his strength, but he was trusting God. He trusting God, and he knows that God can help him to defeat this guy. And we know that he had the victory. That's why he wrote these words in Bible, in Psalm. He said that no warriors escape by his strength. No king is saved by the size of his army. No warrior escaped by his strength. A horse is weighing hope for deliverance. In other words, he said, back in the day they were using horses, for in battlefield to fight, and sometimes if they have to run away, they would run away on horses. But he was just explaining, if God's hand is not upon you, if you're not trusting God, you're not going to escape. You're not going to win the battle if God is not with you. But he's just saying something. He's just telling us a secret. He said, but the eyes of the Lord on those who fear him, on those who hope in his unfailing love, to deliver them from death and to keep them alive in famine. If we fear God, if we have close relationship with him, if we trust in God, then we can have victory over our enemies. Then we can go and just have victory because God is with us. So I'll tell you this true story that I heard from a preacher. I'll try to, I think I'll tell you in Ukrainian because it's going to sound better. So this, I don't know if you guys heard of Dmitry Bespalov. Anybody heard this guy? So this is a preacher well known in Ukraine and all this former Soviet Union. He's about 90 years old right now. He knows like 7 different languages. And once he met this pastor or a preacher that he told him a story that back in the day in Ukraine, when the communism ruled the nation, they rule everything, and they trying to say there is no God. And one day, I think in May or other day, they would just gather together and just celebrate and their belief, and they say, there is no God and Lenin is our leader. They were trusting in Lenin or whatever, that propaganda. So вони хотіли посміятися from a Christian preacher. So when they all gather together, вони приводять цього притчера, дають йому в руки портрета Леніна і говорять, неси штунда. Ви знаєте, що таке штунда? На Україні, коли хотіли посміятися з віруючих, то на їх говорили штунда. Типа, ти штунда, ти віриш в Бога, ти, you're no one. І от йому дають оцього плаката з Леніном, і типу, щоб з його посміятися, і говорять, на штунда неси. But that guy, he feared God. And I believe in his mind, in his heart, he prayed to God and say, God, look, my enemies, they making fun of me. They're just trying to make me look like a fool. And they want me to carry this photo of Lenin. Just give me wisdom how to act in this situation. And God gave him wisdom. So he take this photo and say, Володя, Володя, до чого ти дожився? He's talking to the Lenin. On pictures like, Володя, Володя, до чого ти дожився? Що всі твої друзі тебе оставили і мусить штун донести. And they was, that guy, they were just like, angry. Вони забрали раз всього того портрета і саме понесли. And that Christian preacher, he just went home. But, did you guys get the point? Понятно було? Окей. Може воно смішно звучить, maybe it's kind of sounds funny, but I found something precious in that. I found that if you trust God, if you fear God, God looks down from heaven and He sees every mankind. If you walk, before God with pure heart, God knows you. God protects you. And when someone trying to make fun of you, when someone trying to look you down, God will protect you. God will protect you from your enemies. God will give you wisdom what to say. God will give you wisdom, and you will know what to say. So it's very important to just have close relationship with God and just walk with Him. King David, and just his life, when we look at his life, he's always trusting God. He was always trusting God. He was kind of never was going by logic. When he defeated Goliath, everybody was just praising him and just lifting up his name and saying, he is our next king. But when he defeated Goliath and when he became a king, it passed so many years, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 years. He was hiding from Saul, from another king. He was hiding in caves and just running away. But there is so many times when he came to Saul, camp during the night and he saw him sleeping and his friends were telling him, just kill it. That's the time when God giving in your hands the enemy, just, or let us do this job for you. But he would not do that. Because he knows that it's not his time yet. It's not his time yet. He knows what God is telling in his heart. He was trusting God. And logically, everything we're telling him, this is the time. You're running, you're hiding in caves because you're scared for your life, and now your enemies is laying, just kill him. But no, he knew in his heart that it's not his time. He was trusting God. He was believing God. He knows when is the right time. We know Joseph. God told him something. He gave him a dream that one day you will be a great leader. Your brothers will bow down and just worship you. But before he came, before he was a leader, before he came to that position, we know what he had to go through. When logically it wasn't make sense, he came to visit his brothers. He came to give them food, but they was trying to kill him. Then they sold him as a slave, and he was served faithfully to one of the Potiphar in Egypt. And we know how he ended up in jail. It was not fair. Logically, it was like, what's going on? God told me I will be, a great leader, but now I have to go through jail. But in that hard moment, when everything was going against him, he was trusting God that whatever God told me, one day I will be a leader. And as we live in these days, especially you guys, and at age of 14, 15, 16, 17, you will have so many, challenges in your life. When your friends were, gonna trying to take you away from church and let's go hang out, let's go do that. This world trying to impact you so much, and logically maybe it's gonna look right, or let's go achieve our career, or let's go achieve whatever we want to achieve, or let's go get a good job. It's nothing wrong with that. We should do that. But if we, live in church, just behind and not attending church, not serving God because of that, I don't know how far we're going to go. But if we're going to trust God, if we're going to continue to serve Him, God will bless us. Maybe some of you will just, stay here in this church and would come every Wednesday and Monday for practice and worship, or some of you will be soon preachers and you would have to come on Wednesday nights, and maybe some of your friends will go hang out and just go different places and traveling the world and be encouraging you, let's go with us, let's go with us. But you will hear in your heart, you will hear this quiet voice that God is telling you, you have to stay here. This is your place. Trust me, I will give you much better. I will give you better future, but just trust me. Trust at this point. Don't go by your feelings. Don't go by where your friends is inviting you. Just trust me. And we know the Joseph's lives, end of his life, how God blessed him so much. And one day his brothers came and just worshipped him. Worshipped him. I'll just share one of my life story. I think I shared that with some of the boys. I remember it was maybe 5 years ago or 6 years ago. We decided to go with our youth for 1 day or 2 days camping, but it was a special camping. It was in summertime. We were supposed to go for like 2 days fasting and praying. No food, no fun, just fasting and praying, just seeking God's face. And girls and boys supposed to go. And that time I had a girlfriend, and so we were supposed to go together, but something happened, and all the girls from our church, they just couldn't go. And she was going, all the boys and my girlfriend going to the fasting and prayer, it wouldn't look good. And then she had a day off from work, and she was so happy and excited. Now she can go with me, and she's like, hey, then let's go with my family. We're gonna go different place camping as well. But I know that I promised to my youth leaders that I'm gonna go with our church and then we're gonna fast and pray. But she's like, no, let's go with us, because you know how many times I was trying to take day off, but I couldn't. Finally, I got a day off. Now I can go with you, so let's go with us. And logically, it kind of like seems like she was right, and maybe I should go just with her. Then we just end up fighting and say, no, I can't go. So I have to go with my church. I went to this camp, and that camp was so hard for me because I was kind of like, mad and everything. Because I was just I don't know what's gonna happen with her. Maybe she's just gonna go with her family and have a good time, and now I'm here fasting and not eating. And for me, it was so hard. For the whole day, I was just kind of like fighting in myself, like maybe I did the wrong decision. But when the day is over, and we gather in the cabin with boys, and it was worth it. We had such a just wonderful prayer. God's Spirit came down. God just blessed us so much. We were just praying for each other. We just felt God's presence so much. And then I was so happy that I made the decision to go, with church, to obey God, what He was telling in my heart, that I should go, to this camp. I should not go, where my feelings is letting me, or, my girlfriend. And God blessed me so much, and I was so happy that I stay with with our youth. And next morning that night I was leaving home, and I don't know, I was like, okay, so I in fight with my girlfriend. I don't know what's gonna happen, but because I obey God, He changed her heart, and she started texting me. It's like, hey, I'm sorry, because that was my fault, So my point is, if you obey God, if you trust God, God will just help you. God will bless you, and maybe sometimes it's gonna cost you something. to follow God. Maybe it's gonna obeying God sometimes is gonna cost you, but it's worth it. It's worth it. And just before I close, I just want to read Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5. And trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord. Honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vat will be brim over the new wine. I think we heard many times this verse. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. It's very important to just trust God. Trust God and not lean on your own understanding. And when we trust God, God's gonna bless us. God's gonna bless our life. God's gonna bless our future, and we will have everything what we need in this life. So right now we're gonna go to prayer. Let's all just stand up, and